Okay, good people, it's Friday night, and I'm not recording myself on purpose tonight because I want to have you all focused on my words instead, what I have to say. I want to talk about metaphysical nature of twin flame journey, the metaphysical nature of ascension. Ascension is real. Now I realize ascension is real. Ascension is not, the word itself sounds like you climb the stairs and you're on some different level, and sometimes people expect that to be some kind of graphical visual thing that we actually like know when we are in a 5D or when we are in 3D. I mean, we know when we are in 3D, but are we really like, okay, let me give you an example. If you're in 3D, in Islamic terms, we would say, for those who are Muslim listening, I want to say dunya. Dunya is spelled as D-U-N-Y-A. D-U-N-Y-A, dunya is Arabic word that means this life in flesh, the physical existence. And I like that the word starts with the word D, so I always say 3D or dunya. The 3D is physical existence, the world that we experience is 3D. But let me ask you a question. Like, if you're sleeping, okay, you're sleeping in your bedroom and you are in a dream state, and sometimes those dreams are very vivid, sometimes those dreams are very serious experiences. You actually, whether you believe dreams are from universe, I completely believe they are. I believe not only that they're from universe, but we have examples from the Bible and the Quran that the prophets had dreams that were leading them to do certain actions. Like Abraham had a dream. What he did, he took Ishmael and his wife to the desert. And this is where Bible and the Quran are, where actually Quran modifies Bible. I mean, not modifies. The Bible was the one that was modified. The Quran will get to the places in the Bible that have been changed and warn us about this. And the other places that are correct in the Bible, Quran will just be like quickly, just reference it and just move on. Quran will not go into details if the details are correct in the Bible, but some things in the Bible have been changed, like some facts, and so the Quran will warn you about these facts. And that's why I love to read both Quran and the Bible together. It's an amazing experience. And so anyways, when it comes to Abraham, the story of Abraham and how he took Ishmael, his firstborn, and his wife Sarah, I'm sorry, not Sarah, Hagar, to we call her Hajra, when he took them to the desert and left them there. Bible commentaries say that his first wife, his older wife, Sarah, made him do that. And that makes him a really bad guy. Think about it. I mean, okay, your wife tells you to put your second wife to the desert. Okay, that makes sense to today's social, way of thinking, but or that time. I mean, if jealousy always existed, I mean, that makes perfect sense, what Bible says. But it doesn't make perfect sense when you think about it, because when you read the Bible itself, the Bible says it was Sarah who picked Hagar for her husband. She felt unconditional love for Abraham, and the Bible doesn't deny that Sarah and Abraham had huge love for each other. They loved each other so much dearly, and she couldn't give him a son, and she knew he was a prophet. So a prophet not having a son is not just a small deal, like when regular people cannot have children. So she insisted, even Bible commentaries agree to that, that she insisted. Abraham was not very happy about that. He was not happy. He loved his wife dearly. He was even offended by her suggestion. Imagine if you're ladies listening now, and imagine if your husband tells you, look, we can't have kids, why don't you sleep with another guy and then just conceive? I mean, how many women will be offended by this greatly? Like, if her husband, I mean, that would be like, oh my God, what are you saying? You would actually not be jealous? You would let me be with someone else? Like, how dare you say that? Like, who do you think I am? Like, okay, maybe adoption, but I mean, what are you talking about? You would probably never speak to your husband again if he suggested, like, okay, why don't you sleep with my friend and have a baby? I mean, seriously, think about it. How offended you would be if your husband suggested that to you. So it was Sarah who suggested to Abraham to take one of her servant ladies and take her as a surrogate mother, but marry her, of course, make her an honest woman, and not just, I mean, they cannot just, there was no medical technology back then to make her a surrogate mother through through artificial insemination, but it had to be done the old-fashioned way, like birds and bees way. So she suggested that, and Abraham was not. He was opting out. He was not. It took her a while to persuade him that this was the only way. And then he did marry Hagar, and then they did have Ishmael, and so that story doesn't make sense that it was Sarah who would, after all that, kick her out. I mean, it doesn't make sense, because these women are holy women. These women are women of, they're wives of the prophet. They don't mess around with stuff like that, because they know this baby is not a prophet. And it was Ishmael and Isaac was the father of Jacob. So the line continues. And the Ishmael is the father of Arabs. Ishmael is great grandfather of Muhammad. So this is two prophetic lineage, two prophetic family branches from the same guy, from Ibrahim. So these women didn't mess with stuff like that. It was not Sarah. It was what the Quran says. It was the dream. It was the dream. And even the Bible says that it was the dream. I mean, but then they kind of start blaming Sarah for, like, it was her idea. No, it was not Sarah's idea. It was God's idea. And here's why I know it was God's idea, because what happened after that proves that it was God's idea. Because Abraham did that, and imagine you go through all this ordeal, and you have arguments with your wife, and then you finally say, okay, I'll have another wife. Okay, but are you sure you're gonna be okay? Yeah, okay. Then he has another wife, and she's younger, and then he has his firstborn, which is Ishmael, which is father of Arabs, which is father of today's Muslims, and then we have Isaac born to Sarah after he marries his second wife, and his first wife's servant lady, and then she has Ishmael. Then Isaac is born to Sarah, to the older wife, to the first wife, and then he takes, not because his wife told him, but because God told him it's very hard for him. He takes her to the deserted area in the desert, and he did leave her food and water because he didn't know why. This was a vision. This is a dream. He had to do what dream told him to do. He believed in his prophetic dreams, that God was talking to him through the dream. Like, he had this vision of doing that, and then he did that. Same thing happened later with, again, Ishmael, when he was sacrificing. Almost sacrificed him until the ram showed up. I mean, this is a test of Abraham's faith, but not only test of his faith was definitely tested, and he definitely passed the test of complete, this is a test of what? Of complete trust in God, in Allah. Like, oh my God, how would you leave your child? Are you crazy? How can you? I mean, that sounds like not only child abuse and wife abuse, but that's completely like psycho thing to do. But not if you're prophet, not if it's a dream, not if it's something you know it's gonna turn out to be okay. I mean, if he was doing child abuse, then what about mother of Moses? What about mother of Moses? Both Quran and the Bible agree that she threw her baby in the water. Well, yeah, I mean, to avoid, bigger evil, that he would be slaughtered. But how did she know? How did she know that he was going to survive? And that's in the Quran. You can find it in the Quran. She knew because she trusted God. God told her, just toss him. And she didn't just put him lightly. She actually threw him really far into the Nile, because that way, this is how she was told to in the dream to do it. Just not just put him, gently in the water, but just what's the word, like flip him like far into the water with his basket, a baby. Why? Because then the stream, the way the gods works in mysterious ways, the way the nature, the stream took him down, the water of Nile took him, it happened so that he got exactly on the spot at the same time. Divine timing, we're talking about divine timing here, exactly on the time when sister and wife of Pharaoh were bathing and kind of like being on a beach, I say, on the shore of Nile, and then they saw the baby and they saw the basket and then found Moses. I mean, and then mother of Moses came to nurse him. She was his wet nurse, because they didn't know it was his mother. But the Quran says the baby refused every single wet nurse they offered him. And Pharaoh must have had thousands. I mean, he could have brought anyone from Egypt to nurse this baby, but the baby refused. Instinctively, which is from God, which is what we call intuition. Intuitively, this baby refused any other milk, because he already tasted his mother milk. And God says in the Quran, I made him so that he would cry and cry and cry and refuse, and he was starving and he was dying until they brought him his real mother. Because the sister of his mother, his aunt, followed them to the castle, and then she told him, well, I know a lady who recently lost a baby, and then she could come and feed him and blah blah. And then and the Quran says that's how his mother was comforted. But back to Abraham, what happened is he followed the dream as well. He trusted God. He's like, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I have to do this. This sounds crazy, but I have to do this. So he leaves her in the middle of the desert with food and water. But when she lost all the food and water, when it was gone, the baby starts crying. Then she starts running back and forth. This is something we still do when we Muslims go to pilgrimage to Mecca. We run back and forth 7 times between two hills called Safa and Marwa, and this is where she ran back and forth. She was like SOSing. She was calling for help. She was screaming. The baby was dying. It must have been, oh my God. And then she heard the angel, and then she saw that the water start floating under the baby's feet, and that's Zamzam. That's the water that still today pilgrims in Mecca drink. Muslim pilgrims. It's from the time of Abraham, which means it's over 300 years old, over 3,000 years old water that is still there. How is that possible? Springs, they dry out. This spring, did you know that NASA has conducted, and scientists have conducted research how deep this well is? Nobody knows. Nobody can find the core, the root of this well. Where does it come from? Think about it. Okay, but besides the water that start, floating, and she survived, this water is the best balanced water in the world, Zamzam. It's not just holy water like the water from the river Ganga, but it's really like healthy water. It helps. I mean, there's been miracles because of this water. And I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen and I've tasted this water, and I can tell you for sure this water. And it has a most balanced number of like nutrients and whatever water. Water has different types of elements in it, and it's just excellent water. And it's just like at the time when she found it, she made a well, and then the caravan started stopping. And then eventually one caravan decided to make their home there, and they formed, little by little, they formed a city. The community started growing, and later Ishmael married one of these tribal girls when he grew up, and then that's where we have Arabs start. This is the beginning of Arabs. Okay? But the most important part is Holy Kaaba. The Kaaba, the building, the first building built by Adam, first man, first church, first mosque. It's the first church and the first mosque, whatever you want to call it. It's the first holy house of worship. It's Kaaba in the Mecca, which became the city later after the caravan stopped. Is Kaaba. And how Kaaba was discovered? It was discovered by Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac when Abraham came back to visit Hagar and Ishmael, and he came back with his now younger son, but from the first wife, Isaac, the son of Ishmael. Isaac is considered the father of Jews, and Ishmael is considered father of Arabs. Okay? That's the paradox. And today they're fighting, or I guess for a long time they've been fighting. And then so the two brothers came together with their father, and they found something. Again, it was a dream that Abraham had, that he should come to this spot in Mecca, and he found something just peeking through the sand. And what he found was the roof of the Kaaba, and he started digging out and cleaning. And the Quran mentions that he cleaned this holy place, and that's Kaaba. That's where pilgrims go today, the Muslim pilgrims. So it was all because of dreams. And don't forget Joseph and his brother. And I'm not talking about Joseph. Many people confuse Joseph, supposedly husband of Virgin Mary, and Joseph from Egypt, son of Jacob. Okay, who had not only he had a dream that came true, but he knew how to interpret other people's dreams. Okay, so dreams are powerful, especially prophetic dreams. And we all, if we are on Twin Flame journey, have experienced these vivid dreams, the dreams that come true sometimes. Those ESP, what's the word? Like I'm a little bit tired tonight. I'm sorry. The dreams that are like they tell the future. The things come true later on. It's precognitive. Yes, I'm sorry. Precognitive dreams. I have these all my life. I am not looking for them. It just happened to me. I used to be scared, but then I relate to Joseph, or we call him Yusuf in Islam. There's a chapter 12 in the Quran called Yusuf. It's about, this is the name of the translator, but his name is Yusuf too. I guess that's a confirmation that I'm telling the truth. But there's a chapter Yusuf here, and it's about Joseph and how he could interpret dreams. So dreams are a powerful thing. So back to 3D. What I was going to say is, if you're in a physical body, in a 3D, and yet you are sleeping, and you may even be dreaming, and you may be even dreaming something important, or maybe you're purging through your dreams, you're cleaning through your traumas, maybe you are regressing to past lives, maybe you are in a different dimension, then, or you're just in your higher self. You just travel to your higher state of self, higher consciousness in your dream. And you are not, so you're physically in your bed, in your room, in your bedroom, but where are you really at that moment? Are you really, I mean, you're out of your body for sure, you know. Those around you can tell for sure you're not there. So that's a good example of when you're in like your body is in three, so you are your body still. You are still your body. So you are both in 3D at that moment, physically, but you're also in 4D or 5D or 6 or 7. It depends. Because I believe in the different dimensions. Just as many numbers of chakras we have dimensions, and the Quran mentions that too. It's called 7 heavens. The Bible says the same thing. 7 heavens, 7 dimensions, higher, higher, higher. So you know, we can be like, that's an example. When we're dreaming, when we're sleeping, we can be in every, and that happens every single day. We are in 3D and somewhere else, 4, 5, 6D, you know. Sometimes people don't come back. They don't wake up. They stay. They stay in the 7D. They stay. And then the body, if they don't come back, the body has no breath for a long time, and it's gone, okay? Then the person doesn't die. It's just the body. They just leave the body. It's kind of, the body has to be recycled, okay? I guess that's my explanation of that. I hope you like it. Like it or not, I was gonna say, what about this ascension that we are talking about in a twin flame journey, and in the ascension of the earth in general right now? Because twin flames are just another sign of the whole world ascension. Not whole world. Some people are ascending, some are not. Those who are not ascending, they're gonna completely stay and remain in 3D and will be destroyed together with that 3D. So others, we are ascending. There's a reason for that, okay? And when I say ascending, so I myself may even imagine some stairs or something, but no. It's just like sometimes you're in a different state of mind. You're a different state of soul. You're in a different state of thinking. You're not physically anywhere else. You're still in your body. Just like when you're sleeping, your body is perfectly right here in your room. You're here, but you're not here. You're someplace else at the same time. So even in awakened state, right now, I am experiencing not being like I am. Well, right now, I'm focused on this video and I'm talking to you. But even when I'm doing this and I'm talking to you and I'm using my tongue and my mouth and my faculty of speech and thinking, I'm also feeling that I'm in 4 and 5D. You know, I can do, like, it's kind of like multitasking, or sometimes you have to be quiet to actually feel, you know, someplace else. But it's also like, while you're interacting with other people, after you've started ascending, you know, sometimes you go and then you come back in 3D and you go forward, and it's just like using an elevator. Like sometimes you have to go on the 3rd floor, 5th floor during the workday, like go pick up some papers, go to the fax machine, and then you go back down to the 3rd floor and then back on the 4th floor like a couple of times a day. This is how I feel in my ascension process. Like sometimes during the day, sometimes during some interactions, my vibration is higher. I simply go in a higher dimension in my spirit, and my physical body is still in the same place. It's like there's an elevator in the building, and then you know, building doesn't go anywhere. Building is still there, but elevator goes up and down, like to different levels, you know. So, you know, I'm that building. I'm a physical body. I'm still here. But so why am I saying is this? Is because you cannot see ascension at the, like, that the person is ascending. You cannot see. Person looks perfectly normal. You may just think that they're like, okay, well, they know stuff, you know, they're more wise now. Or maybe you'll think like, wow, it's great talking to this person about certain things, like how they know that, like some kind of knowledge they have. But other than that, you don't really know someone is ascending or not. You know, you can't, there's no display on their forehead that says ascending, floor 1, floor 2, floor 3. No, it's just something inside. It's not visible. Just like when someone is sleeping. When someone is sleeping, you don't see on their forehead, there's no display that says, oh, he's now in the REM state of sleep, or he's now like, now you're not hooked to anything to show where you're at, but you are someplace, you know, it's not visible. It's just like, you think he's just snoring and sleeping there, but the spirit of that person is definitely someplace else, or mind, you know. So I want to say something, but before I do, I'm going to read something from the Quran to you. For all of you Muslims who don't believe that you say New Age people, they don't know what they're talking about. Or the New Age people who say, oh, the Muslims, they don't know. The Christians, the religious people, they don't know. We all actually on the same page here. We are all on the same page here, literally. So I'm going to read to you what I found tonight in Surah Abraham, actually. And I was not talking about Abraham because of that, but seems to be like another confirmation. Yeah, Surah Ibrahim or Abraham is the chapter 14. I believe, I'll explain to you later about chapter 12, which is chapter Yusuf. I believe Joseph was 12 when he was thrown in the well by his jealous brothers. Chapter 19 is chapter Mary, Virgin Mary, in the Quran. I believe, I'm not claiming this. I just believe. I have this, as I said. Sometimes you just know things because you go to higher dimensions. I believe that Virgin Mary was 19 when she conceived Jesus. She was a virgin, 19-year-old virgin, strong. I mean, small but strong. I mean, she was not 14, she was not 15. I believe she was 19. And the chapter number is 19. Also, chapter chapter 16 of the Quran is called the Bee, and it mentions this divine connection between bees and God. That he directs them to where to find flowers and how to produce honey, which is healing for humans. And I discovered almost accidentally studying zoology that bees, it takes them 16 days to grow from larva to the adult bee stage. So like to become a bee from a little bee baby, you have 16 days. And then the size of the bee's belly, or the size also of those little holes inside the bee honeycomb, is always 16 millimeters. 16 millimeters is the size of each individual adult bee, because all the bees are same size. They're not like humans. Like, I'm told you're short. They're all, 16 millimeters. And the chapter is 16. So I believe Abraham was 14 when he was fighting with his father, who was idol worshiper, and not only worshiper, but his father, he built statues for the idol worshippers. And then there's a story in here, and I believe it's also in the Bible. I can't claim, I think it's in the Bible too. I can't 100% say that he broke the idols. He broke the idols that they were building. He broke idols that his own father was building and making money, making food, making living for his household, because he was monotheist. He believed there's only one creator, one God, Allah. And so Abraham was the first Muslim. That's what the Quran says. Anyways, you may not, or you may agree with that unless you read the Quran, but I believe he was 14 when this happened, when that incident happened. This is something. And there's more and more things like that in the Quran, like numbers of chapters. Anyways, what was brought to my attention tonight, I was praying and then I found this very interesting. This is in chapter 14, chapter Abraham. In verse 48, it says, one day the earth will be changed to a different earth, and so will be the heavens, and men will be marshaled forth before Allah, the one, the irresistible. So it says one day the earth will be changed to a different earth. Okay? And this is what New Age people have been talking about. This is what New Age people have been talking about this new Gaia, the new earth, okay? It's in the Quran, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in Islam, brothers and sisters in humanity. It's in the Quran, the new earth. And we are going through that ascension process. I fully believe that. Okay? I fully believe that. I believe in the day of judgment as well. Yes. But before the day of judgment should be period of peace. Should be new earth. Should be Gaia. And we are the leaders of that. We have to ascend so we can lead the others. Like, there's no other earth to run to if something... No, we have to run to our higher selves. We have to ascend. We have to learn how to be in a higher state of being. Because the earth needs to be in a higher state of being. And that's not bull. That's not bull. That's the real thing. Okay, where was I? I want to tell you something. In this ascension process and in this now new way of my existence, when I can be physically in 3D but also be somewhere else in my spirit and in my mental state, and I can be in 4 and 5D, I'm discovering something lately that I will just mention this as quickly as possible, that my organic twin started channeling telepathically to me in 4 and 5D. I could clearly hear him. Then I couldn't get confirmation. Was he really sending me this message from his higher self? I mean, even if I asked that person who is my organic twin, if he wanted to be like close friend, if he was my boyfriend, if he was like in relationship with me, if I could ask him, maybe he would say, no, I wasn't saying that. No. I mean, because what if in his 3D he's not aware of that? What if it's his 5Ds, communicating with me? But regardless, I couldn't confirm. So I could be just crazy. I could be just imagining things, right? But then I met a person that I call sacral chakra guy, because I could feel his pull in sacral chakra. I could feel on the side. I told you millions of times. I could feel him in my side, and side of my, close to my belly button, but to the side of the left side, because here I could feel his calling. And then he started telling me things in 3D, telling me in my face things about same sentences, same things that my twin told me before that, prior to that, in telepathic form in 5D. So this guy confirmed. That's why I told you he was channeling my twin flame. Then I discontinued the relationship with him, and the moment I do, I meet my manifested twin, and he was actually the guy who was channeling my organic twin. He told me I was going to meet my manifested twin. And when I did, my manifested twin not only completely manifests the feelings that my organic twin was always